I'm Vanessa from the Gingerbread Cottage. Just want to welcome you to my kitchen, and today we are going to make beef stock and also beef broth. There's a difference between beef stock and beef broth, and I will show you that in a moment. Between beef stock and beef broth is the cooking time. Beef broth you cook for about 30 hours. You simmer it, keep simmering it, because you want all the goodness from the bones, all the minerals extracted into your broth. I'll show you what I have here. Went to the butcher, got some oxtail, wonderful oxtail, which is really the best for beef broth because you also got some meat on it. Here I had some some beef ribs in my freezer, and here I had organic chicken breast left over. I'm just gonna throw it in. Sometimes you like to stay pure and just do beef or chicken, but I just had it. I'm gonna throw it in. So what we're going to do with this here, we're going to add a little bit of oil, and we are going to roast it in the oven because we want a nice dark stock. So this goes into my convection oven, and I'm going to close it and roast it, put a little bit of oil in it, roast it until it's nice and brown. Okay, just a moment. So you see it's going. Yeah, I'll see in a bit. So while this is roasting, I will show you the other ingredients. A regular stock, when you only want to make a beef stock, which cooks for about 5-6 hours, you have to simmer it. Chicken stock is a little less, it's about 3 hours. Fish stock only takes 20 minutes, and vegetable stock only takes until the vegetables are totally soft. So they all have different cooking times. So in a regular stock, you do chopped celery, carrots. You don't have to peel them, just wash them. You're going to put some onions in, some garlic, and I put the whole garlic in. I just chopped the garlic head in half. I'm going to use 2 here. And then I have some parsley stems here as well, which I usually freeze. I have a lot of parsley in the garden, but I freeze it in these freezer bags, and whenever I need it, I take it out. By the way, you can do the same thing with your bones. When you have a nice roast or chicken, you can keep the bones, put them in a freezer bag, and just stick them in the freezer until you're ready to make stock. So this here are the ingredients for a regular stock. Now, what I add to it is, when the bones come out of the oven, I'm going to take a stock pot, which is a tall, slim pot, and I'm going to put the bones in and add about a half a cup of apple cider vinegar to it, because the vinegar, and of course you add water, you cover the bones, and water and apple cider vinegar, because the cider vinegar extracts the minerals out of the bones, and that's what you want, because this is almost like a medicinal soup. Not to make any claims, of course. Then I'm going to put a couple of red beets in, because I like that. And I put also ginger and turmeric, fresh turmeric in mine. Here they're roughly chopped. Another thing I put in is 1 Thai chili, because it's very beneficial. So here we are. Up to here it's the regular stock, and then when you add this to it, then it is the broth with the vinegar, cider vinegar, and these additional ingredients. What I also have here is lovage. It's a huge plant in the back. It's a medieval plant, and it's called a soup herb. And actually, when you eat it or smell it, it smells like a soup cube, like a beef soup cube. That's what it smells like. And used to be used as a brewing herb in medieval times. I grow it. It grows very, very tall. I have to watch it, chop it off once in a while, because otherwise it's just too much. So yes, we're gonna wait for this, and then I'm going to show you how to do the rest. So we're back again. Here is my wonderful roasted, my oxtails, chicken, whatever I had roasted. I have some water in here already, so I'm just going to put this in the pot with water. It's best to use purified water. Run it through the Brita filter, because this is very time-consuming broth, and you may as well do the best you can. So here, I'm going to just scrape off the brown stuff from my, I'm going to show you here. Always have to watch what focus I'm on. So here you go, and we're going to put this in here as well. Okay. And as you saw, I deglazed the pan with the vinegar, so the vinegar is in here. Now I'm going to add onions, and you want the peels of the onions because it makes the stock even darker, and especially if you want to use it for French onion soup or something like that, you want to have a real rich stock. The same with the garlic goes in. I'm making broth today, so I'm going to put this in here, which is the parsley stems, and I think I would also put some lovage in for a regular stock that you only cook for 4 or 5 hours. So to recap, when you cook regular stock, don't put vinegar in. When you cook broth, you are actually cooking a medicinal broth, which is good for your bones and is very, very nourishing. We are going to, when this is done, we are going to strain it, and we're going to can it in jars and put a label on and put it in the pantry. And then every time you want some broth, you just take it. Whether to cook rice, put a little bit of your broth in, or make yourself a nice soup or a minestrone, you can always use the broth. So I'm going to put the ginger in, the red beets. I'm going to put one of these in as well. And I did say bay leaf. So this is going on my stove now, and as you all know who have been following my cooking classes, I have 2 stoves. I have an electric stove, and I also have the gas stove. For the soup, if you only have a gas stove, then that's what you have to do. You just have to be careful cooking it. But for the soup, I use the electric stove because it is much gentler. Nothing burns. So we are going to put it on, bring it to a boil. As soon as it boils, we're going to turn it down to a simmer and then let it simmer, but always replenish with water. Always replenish with water because, of course, it's evaporating. So you always want to replenish with water, and it can go between 20 and 30 hours, so it takes a couple of days to do it. We'll see you back here. It's absolutely wonderful, very nutritious. So we're just waiting to bring this up to a boil, and I'll be back. So here, just a quick checkup on our broth. It's simmering, and that's what you would like. Just a slow simmering. I have it about on 2 or 3, and you can cover it with a lid and just lift the lid a little, half covered on the side, so not everything steams out. and I'll see you back when we are done. So I'm back with the stock. The broth looks fantastic, has of course a thick layer of fat on top, which we will skim off once we strained it out. And I'm going to start to strain the soup. I'm going to take it out of here, and I'm going to strain it into here very carefully. So I will be back when I'm done with this. Thank you. So here's the strained stock. I'm going to let it sit until tomorrow, and then skim off the fat from the top, right? Just like this. And here we have our leftovers, and I'm going to put them in the city compost. Don't put them in your regular compost because you can't put meat in a compost and nothing cooked. So don't be tempted. It has to be either go in the garbage or the city compost. Okay, thank you. We'll be back when I start the canning. Back, here's day 3. Welcome back. Here's day 3 of our soup broth project here. And as you can see, I have 3 pots here. I did it by the book yesterday. After about 25 hours of cooking, of simmering, I cut it off. I thought that's enough, but you can do up to 30 hours. I strained it through a big colander first, and then I had quite a bit of little flakes in there. So then I took a towel, a kitchen towel. I rinsed it in ice cold water. I lined a colander with it, and I strained it through again. So now I have a total clear broth, as you can see. Then what I did, I divided the big pot of broth into 3 different pots, and I have the luxury of having a commercial cooler, so I have a lot of space in my cooler. So I put those 3 pots so they can cool down really quickly in my cooler. I also added a few ice cubes, just to cool it down really quickly, because that's usually the danger. If it sits too long in a warm space, then the soup spoils. So this one, excellent soup. And then because it was in the fridge, I have all this fat here, which I'm going to skim off, most of it anyway. So I'm just showing you how I do it. The little pieces you can take off with the kitchen towel if you want, with a paper towel. Just skim it over the top and throw it out. And if you have a little fat left, that's fine. What I'll do now is I will take the soup and fill it into my jars, but only fill it about up to here, because what happens, I'm going to pressure cook them. What's happening when I pressure cook them, they start boiling inside the jar, and they boil up, so you don't want them to break your seal, so you can't make it really full. You have to come about here, right? And then I fill my pot, and then I pressure cook them. Now, a little bit of a tip for pressure cooking. This is ice cold. So what I do is I fill them into my jars and add ice cold water to the canning pot, to the pressure cooking pot. When you fill it in hot, then you have to put it into hot water. And then, of course, it goes a lot faster. This one takes a while to heat up, but it doesn't matter. Just to make sure, because otherwise your jars will crack. So cold soup, cold water, hot soup, hot water in your pressure cooker. Okay, I'll be back to show you. To show you what I did. I have these jars filled up, about 3/4 full. Here is another jar I have here, and I use I use one of these here because the ladles are take too long, so we won't do that. So here is my jar that I just filled, 3/4 full. This is on the fuller side, doesn't matter. Now I want to show you what we do. You put a lid on it. Lid needs to be sterilized. Doesn't need to be hot because it's going in the hot. It's not like making jams. So what you do now is you close it, but not, see, it just grabs a little bit, and that's how you leave it. Because that way, steam can come out, and then it sucks the lid back down. So when you're done, this here will be totally loose, and the lid will be sucked down after the process of cooking it in your pressure cooker. Okay? So here's the last one. Yeah, that's perfect. And what we do then is we always wipe the rim totally dry. And sometimes I always make sure I don't get anything on the rim, but sometimes you do. You put the lid on it, and this here. And when you twist it, you see it goes really easy, and then it grabs. It starts to grab. And not totally closed, just when it starts to grab, you're done with it. And then we're going to put it in here, and you can see my pressure cooker holds 7. So I'm going to fill it up with water right to about here, like as far as the liquid goes. It's filled, not totally up. Don't cover it with water. And then I close it. I will show you that in a moment. So here is my filled up pot with the water. Water doesn't quite come to the top. You can see that. Put the jars in first, then the water, because if you put the water in first, you often overfill it. And then what we will do is we will take this lid, right? And everybody has different ones, but they kind of align here on one side. I'm trying to do this with one hand. They align, hopefully. And yeah, here. And then you close them. And there's a lip in the front that has to align with this one because that holds it down. And now we're going to turn it on maximum. And we wait until it cooks, everything is heated up. And then this starts to whistle, will come up. And then what you do is you put the weight on the back and you bring it up to 15. I just bring it up to 15 and then turn it off and let it cool in the pot. Never open the pot because it will explode in your face. This is high pressure, so it's dangerous to cook with it. You need to know what you can do and what you can't do. Okay, see you then. Also a quick show here. I have 7 jars in there. Here are 4 more. So 11 jars from a big pot, stock pot, as you can see in the back. And as you see, the stock pot is tall and narrow. That helps to keep the flavor in. But don't let it stop you if you don't have one. Just use any pot and make stock. Much more important to do it than having the right equipment. Okay. So when it comes out, this is one I had before. You will find that this is loose, but this here is locked. So you just close it really well with 2 hands. I only have one available now. So, and here I put a sign on, clear oxtail soup. You can put the date on. if you like. Sometimes I give a gift to people I know or friends, and then I'd like to have a label on it. But mostly I only make this for myself. Okay, enjoy it. It's easy, a little time consuming, but you can do other stuff on the side while you're waiting. So, wonderful recipe, and nobody else will have it. Enjoy!